Hey folks, this is scottymouse, and welcome to my series on getting started with homebrewing your own fantasy tabletop role-playing game campaign. That's a mouthful. I personally played Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, but these principles can be applied to other similar games. The program I'm using is called Inkarnate, which offers a free version of its service. For the purposes of this series, I'm going to try to use only the free assets so that if you want to take a crack at making your own map, you don't have to subscribe to the service. This video isn't sponsored, I just really like what Inkarnate has to offer. So, to start, when designing your homebrew campaign, you really don't need as much as you think you do. The bare minimum to start playing is a local region with a few key ingredients, a home base, a few interesting adventure locations nearby, and rumors of a bigger goal or threat to work towards. This is literally how the Lost Mines of Phandelver plays out, and that is widely regarded as one of the best introductory adventures for 5th edition. When designing a regional or world map, I like to use hexes. Even if the game isn't a hex crawl, it helps with measuring time and distance for overworld travel. I usually use some increment or multiple of 24 miles, since an average adult person can walk about 3 miles per hour and about 8 hours of travel per day is standard. Here I use 6-mile hexes, meaning a party can travel about 4 hexes per day, give or take 1 or 2 depending on terrain. Forests, hills, mountains, and other difficult terrain may take longer to traverse, while roads may speed things along. Whether you give a copy of the map to the players or not is entirely up to you. I usually don't give my players a copy in the beginning, at least not a fully fleshed out one. The player's copy will usually be limited in some way, whether that's a map of only the local area around the starting town or village, or missing numerous points of interest that players have to discover through exploration or investigating rumors. And since I usually have a DM-only copy of the map, I don't care too much about making it look all that good. The most important thing when you first start world building for a campaign is to have gameable elements. Here, I'm trying to keep things simple. Mostly plains with a smattering of forests, some hills, and one large mountain range. I'm really not too concerned about realism when making my worlds. It's a fantasy world with magic and dragons. If something is unnatural, you can usually explain it away with magic. But don't rely too much on that. Try to use the different terrains to create obstacles between locations, particularly towns and villages. Rivers and mountains are great for this, and can even be their own sources of adventure. And in turn, I like to place villages that would organically lead to adventure. A village by the lake may have to deal with an aquatic monster that threatens them. A village near a forest may have to deal with issues caused by creatures from the woods. Forests are home to a wide variety of residents, from the mundane to the fantastic. Wolves, bandits, goblins, and fae are some just off the top of my head. Maybe some fae bandits threaten a local goblin tribe into service and train them to ride wolves to harass a nearby trade route. You may notice I'm not labeling any of the icons I'm placing down. While I may have ideas of what these points of interest are meant to be, I might change my mind later and want to repurpose them. Or even better, if my players have certain character backstories they want to tie in, this gives me the flexibility to change things easily. This helps players to feel connected to the game world, and as far as they're concerned, the world will feel more real and lived in. As for gameable elements, aka adventure locations, you can never go wrong with some fantasy staples, especially at lower levels. Forests, ruins, mines and caves, and mountains are all dangerous in their own way and can be great places to place plot beats, dungeons, or simply some loot. Players love loot. You won't need more than 2 or 3 to get you started. Drop a few rumors, quest hooks, or, if you're my party, brightly lit neon signs to guide your players to these locations. The players will appreciate having options, and you won't have too many locations to prepare. If any of the locations don't get used, then they can be repurposed for future encounters or even future campaigns. And that's really the bare minimum you need to get started on your homebrew campaign world. Things like lore, the geopolitics of the various countries, and the ancient history of your world, while helpful to really bring your homebrew setting to life, are not necessary to get a game of D&D started. If this video was helpful and you want to see more like it, drop me a like and comment what you want to see next. Some videos in the works will touch on creating and populating simple towns and villages, designing adventure locations, and crafting encounters for both overworld travel and adventure locations. Until next time, this is Miss Scottymouse.